don't see the live on Instagram.
Hey, what's up, guys? It is Jordan Lovejoy here with the No Ramp Required podcast. Today, we have a very special episode. We have Tripp Johnson and Kobi May. Kobi is starring again on the show, especially after his third place finish down at Caddo Lake in Louisiana and Texas. So, Tripp had a very strong finish right behind him in seventh. So, overall, a really, really good week for the guys at Carson Newman. So, we're going to kind of allow them to introduce themselves real quick.
Go ahead, Tripp.
I'm Tripp Johnson. I'm a sophomore here at Carson Newman. There's not much else to say. I'm on the kayak fishing team. Known Jordan for 2 years now.
And I'm Kobi May. I think I'm a sophomore. We've had some trouble with some credits transferring, but second time on the No Ramp Required podcast. I'm honored to be here. Homegrown, grew up right next to campus, so yeah.
Sweet. Well, you guys were going to start off this episode real quick talking about a specific lure that they were throwing. Who wants to kind of say that first? Then we're going to kind of dive into like a technical breakdown of how practice
It was a swim jig.
Carolina rig. I was
No.
dragging that Carolina rig.
In all seriousness, I was not a believer in the Koike hype until this weekend. I'm a full believer now.
I mean, the only reason I honestly threw it is because, Texas, and I've just seen the domination it's had in Texas. I was like, I'm going down to Texas. I might as well buy me some and bring some down there and see what I can do with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very unique bait. Like, I don't know what the bass think when they see it, but when I see it, I think it's kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, me too. Most definitely. It's the stupidest thing I've probably ever thrown.
And for those of you guys that are watching that don't know what a koike is, it's got a round ball in the center.
I may have one.
Kobi is going to grab a koike. Tripp is currently texting on his phone.
I thought I had one over here.
Well, I don't have a quick. I can go get one. I'll be back in like 3 minutes, but I don't have one.
No, worst case, we're good. We're good.
There's one around here somewhere. Okay, this is not a koike, but close enough. So this is actually a Q bomb, but essentially, think of this. But instead of these appendages being skirt material, they're actually plastic. Is that a decent representation?
Stretchy plastic.
Yeah, it's not. So it's got the same shape as a Q bomb, but it's. Listen, we're just all my quickies are in my truck. I just realized, but.
Yeah, it's super unique bait. I was lucky enough to throw it for like 5 casts on day 2, and I absolutely hated my life, so I threw my chatterbait again.
I was loving life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't break your scope pole on a tree and then try and throw a koike because it just does not work very well. But yeah, let's see here. Now I'm gonna have you guys kind of walk us through your tournament. What was the game plan going in practice wise?
Well, me and Kobe traveled together, so let's just start from the beginning. All right,
back up.
Let's back up. So when we were at the team meeting before we left, then everybody paired up. It was me, Kobe, and Ewing that were left out to dry. Well, not left out to dry, but Kobe's truck was down. My car, I didn't want to take it to Texas. It has 280,000 miles on it, and you know what? It was just a decision we had to make. I said, "Well, fine, we're taking the car to Texas."
Pathfinder.
The Pathfinder made it down to Texas, no problem. And it was, a game plan. I wanted to go to Bistino because I heard there's better average size, like your 16-plus bites are a lot more better than the ones at Caddo because I can't tell you how many 9 to 12 inches I caught on Caddo during the tournament. But that was our game plan. We were going to go throw quickly on Bistino. That was when we were on the way down there. That was our game plan. And Kobe can add whatever he wants to on that.
Yeah, so thanks to a tip from Coach Edwin, me and Tripp had never been down there before, and Ewing was like, what do you guys kind of want to do? And we were like, well, I guess we're going to go throw a Koike. And he was like, well, I'm going to go to Bissano for the first day of practice. And we were like, we'll follow you. And so we went with them, and it was horrible for us, at least.
I caught a 30-pound. I don't even know if it's a blue cat or channel cat. All I know is I unhooked it and threw it back in immediately. Yeah, third cast.
I caught one on a frog. It was probably about 16 or 17 inches on like my fourth cast on a cypress tree. And I was like, this might be the deal. It was, in fact, not the deal.
I think I had 30 to 45 different lures laying in the bottom of my kayak after that day. I tried everything and nothing worked.
I will say you boys got Bistanoed because Bistano is a very unique fishery when the water's up because the bass are very, very spread out.
Oh, scattered everywhere. I mean, it was awful. I think
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like there's a big concentration of fish on Bissano like there is on Caddo. Like Caddo just has so many fish, it's ridiculous.
So the main difference between Caddo and Bistano is Caddo, the water level stays just about the same. Bistano, for those of you guys that don't know what Caddo or Bistano are, Bistano's water level changes very significantly throughout the year. Um, in the fall and in the winter, some of the ramps are 70 yards from even touching the lake. So the fish get concentrated in that time of the year, and it can be really good, but it's still tough. Like Kobe said, the population's definitely nowhere near as big as Caddo.
did anybody cut a check on Bissano? Do we know?
I don't know. I feel like everybody said Caddo.
I don't think. I wonder how many people actually went to Bissano both days.
I know Jimmy started on Caddo or he started on Bissano the first day, I think.
And then he came to Caddo and fished out of buzzards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I told him there was some fish back there, and somebody was going to catch a sack, and he did pretty good and caught about 95 inches on a frog. So if you catch 95 inches on a frog, you're doing something right.
Oh, most definitely.
And who doesn't
Yeah,
love
I
a
mean,
good frog bite?
I threw the kitchen sink at them on Bistano. I tried a frog for probably 4.5 hours. I tried every flipping bait you can think of in grass, on trees. Tried fishing duck blinds, which growing up on the James River, you get on that duck blind bite, it gets pretty hot, but still nothing. I just didn't pan out, so we said, yeah, we're not going back. So we tackled. What was it called? Where did we go on the second day in the morning?
Tuckers.
No, in the morning up the river.
Oh, what was the name of that place? I don't know. It was like 2 minutes from the Airbnb, though. We could literally walk to it.
And
was it the highway bridge?
yeah,
Yeah.
We went up there. I caught like a 8-incher on a buzz bait and a couple pickerel, and I looked at Kobe. I said, "We've already fished there for what, hour maybe?"
Yeah, I went in the back of this like little slough type deal and caught the 12 inchers like crazy on a chatterbait. And I was like, this is not the deal.
No. So we packed up and got out of there and had to go find a gas station because I was out of gas. Went, 45 minutes out of the way. I think we drove 2 hours till we fished again. So we got off the water there at 9:30, drove 2 hours, got back at Tucker's at 11:30 because we had to go find gas and no gas stations anywhere.
Yeah. Like up the river, the town of Uncertain literally defines if the town is certain if it's a town or not because there's nothing up there.
There's nothing.
Like those gas pumps that don't sell gas, Jordan.
Yeah. There was one 2 minutes from the house that I did not know sold diesel.
I was told by somebody in this podcast that they didn't have gas, so I drove right by it.
Well,
Turns out they had gas. So, but no, we went to Caddo around 11:30, put in at Tucker's, and I mean, I'm not going to say the bite instantly turned on, but I didn't catch a fish probably till 1:30, 1:45. I was just chucking and winding. Actually, the first fish I caught was on the Koike in a fry ball. I threw it out there and he ate it instantly. Typical fry garter, and then it just was kind of dead. I know Kobe was crashing out. big time.
Oh, mega
It was
trash out.
hilarious. He goes, "Why would somebody put a tournament on this body of water where there's no rocks, no nothing?" It was a time, but we
Boy, am
slowly
I
figured
glad
it
they had it there now.
out. I caught 7 fish that day, and I had like 93 and a quarter. So I figured something out, a little bit of chatterbait bite in practice, and then two of the ones came on a quickie as well. So figured something out.
Yeah,
And
and like I'm sure you guys realized, like as the practice week went on, how unique of a fishery Caddo is. Like, there's other cypress fisheries in the country that produce bigger bags, but Caddo, for whatever reason, it's such a unique fishery in the fact that it's such a small body of water, yet it holds the quality of fish that it does and the
It holds so
numbers.
many fish. It was insane.
Because I mean, I think the number of fish over 20 inches this week was around, what was it, the 50 or 60 fish
It was
mark over
it
two
was more
inches?
than that, I believe.
it
And
was
then,
somewhere in that range.
and then
I
they
thought
had like 30 fish over 22. I mean, it's unreal. And it
It
got
was,
significantly tougher compared to what it was in practice. Like I could go to any tree that had any shade on it or any sort of little brush pile next to it and catch a 20+ inch fish like it was nothing.
so I'll kind of recap on my day at Tucker's. Um, it was actually, I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it wasn't bad. Um, Tripp was up on the bank catching them on a chatterbait, and I seen this random isolated cypress tree, and there's this big blob on it on live scope, and it's just it's kind of one of those things. It's like there's no way it's a bass, but I'm still gonna throw at it. I throw at it, and it immediately comes up and just rockets on it, and I hook it, and it jumps like 3 times. You can ask Tripp; it was like an
Yeah.
8 or 9.
Well, I'm gonna go back on that statement and get a little bit more. He literally screams, "Come up 50 yards away from him." He goes, quickie eater," before the fish even ate the quickie. He just starts yelling. So I turn my head and I see him lean into it. And when I see this fish jump, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he better get it in." And it jumped like 3 times, and then he can tell the rest of the story.
I did not get it in. But then we jumped a couple of similar cypress trees down there, and I don't even know what I had that day. Probably somewhere in the 95 to 96 range, somewhere in that range, 90 mid to high 90s. And I was like, man, this could really be the deal. And then me and Tripp, we got back to the Airbnb after their day at Tucker's, and we were kind of like, you know, what do we do? Do we go to Tucker's again, and do we go up, or do we go down, or do we go across the lake? And I was like, we probably should just go across the lake because, I mean, if it hits the fan, you've got another area that's not exactly the same.
And I'm glad we went across the lake. I'm glad we figured out what was going on at Tucker's and Potter's because it was like what 15, 20 minute uh, space apart from them.
I think I
Because you made the
timed
run
it.
one day and I made the run one day. It was probably 15, 20 minutes from each area. So it was both. Well, I guess, would you consider that the upper end of the lake, Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that so? For any of you guys that have not been to Caddo, uh, if you're looking to get on any sort of bite on them isolated cypress trees offshore, the Texas side of the lake is definitely going to be your best bet. There is some down on the Louisiana side, but you run into the issue of these little dime pads that are literally everywhere, and you'll be in 8 foot of water, and somehow there's still dime pads everywhere, and you can't. I couldn't throw chatterbait. No, I caught some good fish out of it. I had 100 and something inches on one of the days on the Louisiana side in practice, and then that obviously didn't hold up for the tournament. Knowing Caddo, the Koike bite was unique because not a lot of people were throwing it. Now there was a good amount of people that cashed checks throwing it, but overall, out of the 211 angler field, there was probably only 10 to 15 people throwing it. And I felt like even a chatterbait on the both tournament days, I felt was kind of a underutilized bait because I only saw 3 or 4 people throwing it out of Potters, and there was about 50 people around. And I mean, you guys definitely stuck to a little bit more of an isolated group of trees. Like, was there a reason for that, like depth, or was there a channel swing near?
I wouldn't necessarily it was depth, but I would say definitely channel orientated because what I was thinking, you have the channel and it's cut out. Most trees are cut out of it, and the trees that are left right outside the channel are the only trees in the area. So I feel like you have all that vast space and you have a tree there. Those fish are going to be isolated and subject to going to that tree rather than just swimming around. That's what I kind of like pieced together. But Kobe was more onto that isolated channel bite. I found a lot of different stuff. I was also throwing a lot smaller of a quickie than he was, and I was catching a lot more fish. But I was targeting mostly those vast isolated trees out in the middle of nothing, like Kobe was. But I also found like you go into a cypress forest and you'd find like a cluster of 4 to 5 that all had the same root system. Instead of like just one tree, one root system, you'd have 4 clustered together. And I found a lot of fish on those. So I was kind of swinging back and forth targeting both those.
And I think it's very interesting to note how me and Tripp, so day 2 of practice, we go over to Potter's, and we didn't catch near amount of fish that we did at Tucker's, but the size was there, and we kind of had a game plan of, we're just gonna search for 5 bites. At least that was my game plan, because I knew that, with that caliber of fish, you're not going to catch 40 a day. It's just not possible.
Going into Potter's, we didn't really catch them until late morning into the afternoon. As soon as we got into that back area, that back bay.
I think we were there for maybe an hour and a half, and then we left again.
Yeah, once we found the deal, we left. But I only got 2 bites on the quickie on Friday, the last day of practice. I pulled it away from probably 50, 60 fish, and I was just marking every tree that had a fish on it on my graph, and I was going to go back and fish it in the morning.
But it's also important to note how the stretch of bank that we were on, Tripp was on. He was on clusters, I would say, like 3 to 4 trees, and the area that I was in had 2, maybe 3 trees in it, on the entire flat.
It was 4 trees, but they were all 25, 50 yards apart.
And they were on a hydrilla flat, and I think that had a lot to do with why my fish were there.
Yeah, and I noticed too on day 2, I don't know if y'all kind of picked up on this, but the fish definitely moved up just a little bit, and they started getting more orientated on where that grass was and the trees.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pattern I kind of got on with the chatterbait, and I just kept running it, and pretty much ran it for probably 9 to 10 miles a day, just back and forth on the same groups of trees and just hoping for 5 bites.
Well, that was even like on my day 2, like I knew that cold front may have a factor in where my fish were positioning, but I realized after the morning of day 2 that I had been missing out on quite a few fish because something was telling me to kind of slide off of the root system and look at where the hydrilla actually meets the cypress knees. And I noticed in the morning there was 2 trees, and they were probably about 40 yards away from each other. And I noticed them. They were cruising back and forth in a line in that grass. And I ended up catching a 7-pounder out of those cruising fish. And I was like, man, I feel like there's a lot to be harvested here, because I didn't even realize that these fish were in this area. I was fishing the root system in day 1, done really well, but I didn't realize that day 2, I had a whole nother line of fish that I didn't even realize I had, which was awesome for me.
Yeah. And I feel like it's another thing about Caddo too, is like, you could have, just say all 3 of us were fishing the same group of trees throughout the day. We're not going to catch the same fish because we're all going to be keyed in on different things. And there's so many bass doing so many different things on those trees at Caddo. It's what makes it unreal.
It's funny you say something like that, because on the first day, I was fishing that cluster I had, my starting spot. It was 3 to 4 trees, but they all had big, huge trunks, like big, huge root systems that came off each of them. And I was fishing them. I catch my 19 and a half, I think it was the first day. And there was a significantly larger fish with it that chased a quickie out. So I was like, okay, I'll let him reposition, reset up, I'll come back to him. So I went across the channel, probably 200 yards away, fished another cluster. And while I was on my way back, there was a guy that pulled up on it. And I was going to fish the backside of the trees where it also caught some fish that morning. And he flips in there and catches a 22 and 3/4. And I was like, dude, I said, that was a big one. He goes, yeah, man. He's 22 and 3/4. I was like, yeah, I just caught a 19 and a half off there like 15 minutes ago. He goes, must be one lucky tree. I was like, yeah. So I think I think there was a ton of fish on just specialized trees. Does that make sense? Like there was a certain type of tree that held a lot more than the typical thousands and thousands of other type of trees in the lake.
Yeah, and I don't know how it was going for you guys with the koike, but at least me with a chatterbait, some of the trees that were grouped up just a little bit more, kind of like what you're saying, but spaced out like 10 to 15 yards from each other. If you had like 4 trees in that radius, a lot of times you just be able to take a cast up the middle over some of the roots and the knees, and you just be able to catch big fish. Like it, I mean,
I mean, I was catching. I think the majority of my fish came off the knees rather than the main stump. But I know Kobe said he was catching a lot. Well, my biggest fish came off. My biggest two came off the cypress knees, but Kobe said he caught a lot off the trunks on the way
yeah,
back home.
yeah. And then the next question, uh-oh,
Oh,
George,
we lost Kobe.
side note, I think my phone's about to die.
Okay. Just
Oh
me
no.
and Tripp can hold her down, just get her plugged up, and we'll roll with it.
there he goes.
I just took him off the screen that way we don't have to hear his. Okay. All right, Tripp. It's just me and you now. So, did you have to adjust midday on Saturday or Sunday to kind of position yourself, or not even position yourself, just try and get yourself in a better spot to do a little bit better on day two?
I think. I mean, I beat the crap out of the fish Saturday. I didn't know if I was going to have enough to fish on Sunday. I caught like 35, 40 fish first day. And I don't think it was necessarily positioning on trees. I think it was, like I said earlier, just the type of trees that they were on. So I spent the second half of the first day after I had my limit looking for more trees in that area. Like, and then I ended up calling twice, like just practicing. So that was a blessing. Uh, and then, I mean, it, I think it was. I think the second day was more wind orientated and shade orientated. Once that sun got up, the second day, they were definitely in the shade. That was
Yeah.
that was that was night and day different. Any cypress tree that had on the shade side, there was a fish on it. The rain on the first day didn't affect anything for me. I don't know if it affected anything for y'all. Uh,
I mean, for me, I couldn't get him to bite during that rain, and I know Ewing couldn't either. I talked to him. I felt like it kind of shut him down, but like 30 minutes after the rain, it all kind of picked back up and went back to normal.
I mean, we can ask Kobe. Kobe, did the rain turn them off or turn them on?
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear us. I can hear you.
1 second.
So, yeah, this has got me going for a loop here. I'm trying to help him out, but I can't really help him out. Oh, we got John putting some questions in the chat. When's that
Oh,
tattoo appointment? When are y'all getting a koike on?
I don't know. Whenever we get it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have no clue. We haven't talked much about it at all.
yeah. And then while we got you still and waiting on Kobe to get his stuff figured out, was there a decision you made midday, either day of the tournament, that kind of turned your days around?
Well, the biggest decision I made was the second day. Kobe was in position to win it. And I told him, I said, I'm going to catch 88, 90 inches. I said, I'll leave it there to him. At 10:30, I caught a 23 3/4 freaking unit. And that put me up to 89. I was it 89.25.
Yeah.
And I looked at Kobe. I said, I'm out of here, man. I said, I just caught a freaking 7-pounder. He goes, no way. I said, yeah, I'm out of here. So I left. And after that, I really didn't know where I was going. I was going towards Tucker's, but I really didn't have – I just went fishing. On my way to Tucker's between them two big islands, I stopped, caught 3 or 4, called once, and kept on going. I got to Tucker's, fished the same stretch I caught him on a chatterbait on second day of practice. Fished the tree Kobe lost at 8 on. There was nothing on it. Seen Berry Hill, talked to him for a minute while I was fishing, caught one right after he left me. And then I was like, maybe I should head back to where I called that one in between them two big islands. Something just told me to stay. I don't know what it was, but I found a little bit more offshore trees, like probably 300 yards off the bank, and those clusters, and I just put my head down and went fishing. Uh, Called all the small ones out of my limit, caught a 20 and a half that put me at 100 and a quarter. So, I mean, that would be the biggest decision I made, I'd say.
Yep. And I mean, having 100 inches on a tournament day, I saw you coming back into the ramp, and I knew. I didn't even look at the standings, but I knew you must have had like a giant bag. And I opened up the standings. I'm like, he had 100 inches. I'm like,
Yeah, it went down. It went down. I still have no words for it. The only thing I can say is I could have caught more than 100 and a quarter. I had the fish on that day. I broke one off. It was probably 8.5, 9 that morning. It ran me down in the cypress trees and got off. But it is what it is. I mean, I can't complain. I still had, I think it was 25, 26 pounds of fish.
yep. And then, Kobe, how did your day 2 go? Did you have to make any adjustments midday to kind of get yourself back on track? And
So my day 2 was more of a mental game more than anything. Um, I had a lot of pressure after day 1 because I was sitting in second going into day 2, and I knew that I knew I was around the right fish to win it, and I knew that I had a good chance to win it. Um, Dontrell and Casey, I knew they were going to be two guys that were going to be hard to catch, and I was worried. I was really worried about Wyatt, because he was right behind me. But I had a tremendous amount of pressure on me because I had hammers all around me on the standings, and that was kind of my big thing going into day 2. So for the start of the morning, like my fourth cast after lines in, I hook like a 6 pounder, and I get it halfway to the boat, and it just freakishly pops off. And I was like, trying not to get into like this mental game. So about 30 or 40 casts later, I cast up and I see one on scope. I cast at it, it eats it. Another probably five something, I would imagine, 4 to 5 pounder, and it comes off. And so now at this point, I'm kind of trying to beat my head in because I've lost probably two 20-inch fish that I knew were going to be substantial because I had three of them on day 1, and they were a huge part on why I was sitting in second. And I knew that having the opportunity at those fish and not executing was really going to play with me for the rest of the day. But honestly, like, I just sat down in my kayak after I lost my fish. I said a quick prayer. I just did a mental reset. And I was like, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't lose those two fish. We're just going to act like lines ends right now, you know, and just kind of get a fresh mental game. So it wasn't long after that. I seen one in the hydrilla. I flipped over to it, and it was a huge dot, and it ate, and it was right at 7. And I was like, that was the momentum I needed for the start of the day. Um, Day 2 was a lot like day 1. Unlike Tripp's area where he was catching a lot of fish, I was not. Um, I knew that I would be lucky to get probably 7 to 8 bites a day, but I knew that they would be the right fish, and that's kind of why I stuck with my game plan. Um, but I was fortunate enough, the fish that I did catch, I caught a 19 right after that. I caught another, I think maybe a 20. I think I had maybe had two 20s or two close to 20 on day 2. And I had, what really killed me is I had 3 17s. And knowing that I had those fish on, that were probably 3-inch culls at the minimum, maybe 2, it's hard to tell because I didn't actually eat them in the boat, but that was kind of like, in my mind, I had to kind of pick up on, all right, we're going to have to get in the dirt, and we're going to have to do this all day. And so I just stuck with it, and I was blessed to have, I think, 95 and a quarter maybe the second day. And it was good enough for third. But it was a grind, man. Like, Tripp was catching numbers, and it was so frustrating. And because I would run into him halfway through the day. Like on day 1, it was like 11 o'clock, and I had 3 for 60. And I was like, I here I am. I have 60 inches and 3 fish, and I'm not going to capitalize, and I'm not going to have 5 and have a chance at a monster bag. And Tripp was like, "Yeah, man, I've had 5 since 8:30 this morning." And I was just like, "Come on, man."
Well, I honestly felt bad because I was doing the same thing to Hunter because we'd see each other throughout the day, and he'd be like, "You on them?" And like the first day, it was like 7:30 or 8, and I was like, "I got 2 fish," and then I'd run like 5 minutes away, come back 10 minutes later, it'd be like, he's like, "Caught any more?" I'm like, "I got 4 now," and then on day 2, I just was running around and like I caught numbers, I just didn't catch size. Like I had a limit in the first 25-30 minutes, and I didn't have it submitted because it wasn't a big limit. And then progressively throughout the day, I kind of pulled my way up, but had nowhere near of a day as you guys did. And really, really happy for you all because you guys got on. We needed somebody on the team to get on them because after practice, there was not a lot of people that were on fish at all. I felt like it was more scattered. Everybody was kind of all over the lake catching decent to small fish. I know Kobe had a special catch. I don't know if he wants to mention that from when he was down there.
Yeah, you got to tell a story on that one. That was quite
So,
literally insane.
so as I mentioned previously about me losing my big one on day 1 of practice, or day 2 of practice. So we go to Potters on day 3, and this plays into why we decided to stick to Potters. But so I'm fishing around some cypress trees, and I catch one that's like 5, and I was like, okay, there's good fish in this area, and like at this point, it's getting hot. So like it's 11:30, I think, somewhere in that range. Trip, am I correct on that?
Yeah, no, that's right.
So me and Trip are just kind of like motoring around, just jumping from tree to tree because you had to cover so many to find the groups, and he like it was so weird. So I'm like motoring over towards the bank because I was fishing like an island of trees, and Trip he like yells at me. He's like, "Hey, hey, hey, you got any sunblock?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got sunblock." And so he comes up next to me. I hand him the sunblock, and there's this random cypress tree just next to this channel marker. And I was like, what the heck? I'll throw at it. I didn't even have scope pen on. I didn't even see that there was fish on it. So I throw over there, and my quicky's falling, and I just see my line just going to the right because I was like halfway talking to Trip, and I was halfway
Well,
fishing.
I'm gonna cut you off here. It was funny because I was watching your rod tip, and I just see going, and before he sets his hook on, I go, "Oh, it's just another kitty, kitty."
Yeah, we were like, oh, I set into it. And I was like, man, that's got to be a catfish. I was like, it has to be. So I mean, I see my line running. I set into it, and it starts digging. I'm like, oh man, it's a catfish. Like here I am. I caught a catfish. Wow. Until the catfish turned into a bass. Oh. So it starts digging, 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 and I'm sitting here halfway fighting it because I'm thinking it's a catfish. And then it jarts, and then it just beelines towards the surface and goes full airborne. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is the biggest fish I have ever seen in my life.
Mind you, it came like 3 feet out the water.
Yeah. And
Like full.
meanwhile, Trip is still next to me.
I'm
Like
holding on this. I'm holding on this A trail. Like
we're
I'm holding
literally
on to his
side by
kayak.
side. And the fish comes jumping, it's 3 foot out of the water, and I looked at Trip and I was like, oh my God. Like
No, he did not. He was looking at me like this. Yeah, it was.
So it goes back down, it starts digging again, and then it comes back up and it jumps. And for whatever reason, it didn't matter if the fish was 12 inches or if it was 10 pounds. Those fish love to go airborne for whatever reason. They fight so hard. It's like northern smallmouth if it was a largemouth. But I finally I look at Trip and I was like, dude, you gotta help me. Like like you gotta help me land this thing. And he was like, what do you want me to do? He's like, and I'm not messing it up in case you do screw up and you miss this fish or you lose this fish. And I was like, touche, whatever. So
No, you
I
yelled
finally,
net it. Did you forget that part? You
huh?
yelled net it, net it, net it.
Yeah, I was
You
like,
need to net
net
your
it, Trip, you
fish.
have to net it. And he was like, dude, no. And so I was like, fine. And I finally get it up towards the surface. I didn't really see the fish until so it was digging underneath his kayak. he had to pull his motor up, like his live scope pole. He had to pull his drive up because we're still
It was
like
under
next to
my
each other.
kayak. It was, yeah.
We're still right next to each other during this whole thing. And I finally get it up, and I finally put my rod back, and it comes up, and I grab it, and I just kind of like I go to pull it up with my one arm. I'm a skinny dude. It's no. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. And I went to go lift it, and I was like, oh, that's a little heavy. So I two-handed it, grabbed it, threw it in the kayak, and I was just holding it like in front of me, in front of my seat, and I was like, oh my gosh. And we didn't know. I mean, I don't know how many 10-pound fish you all have caught, but I've not caught one before. And so I was like, I don't know how big that is. So I big eyed it, and I was kind of like, Tripp, I think that might be like 11 or 12. And
Yeah.
and I was like, well, there's only one way to find out. So I weigh it, and I was like, dude, that thing was 1065. It was the craziest catch of my life, all in the Koike.
John said, double digit on a Koike equals low cortisol.
Bro, double digit on a spinnerbait equals low cortisol.
So we've had a few questions pop into the chat, kind of about rigging a Koike. Kind of want to walk through either one of you how you were rigging it, because I know we all were rigging it the same. Because
No, not really, Jordan. I really don't.
Don't buy the Bite Times quickies from I don't know where they came from. They don't have a hole in the middle, and you cannot stick a nail weight in it to save its life.
You guys stay right here. I'm gonna go get my rod out of my truck, and I'm gonna have a visual.
Oh, you're good. We'll chat it up. Well, I've been skipping a couple comments here because I've been distracted. So earlier when we were talking about the rain, shutting the bite down, John said he got tons of blow-ups during the rain.
Oh, the rain helped me substantially.
It did not help me. I felt like I was running around. I was like, I mean, I had lightning cracking all around me, and I got buzzed like 3 different times.
No, I got passed by 2 guys that asked me if I was going to stay out and fish, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm fishing for what, $10,000?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to stay out here and fish."
And I mean the wind. I mean, we already had
the wind was awful. The wind was terrible.
And then out of nowhere, we started having 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts, and I was out on the main lake throwing my chatterbait, and next thing you know, it's like 3-footers out in front of potters, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into?
Yeah,
and all I hear is crack, and I'm like freaking, there we go.
So
is that a quad or no?
So I'm not using mine, or I don't throw a quad. But so as we were talking earlier, this is the Koike. If you guys haven't heard about it, you've probably been living under a rock, honestly. But so the interesting thing about this guy is he's obviously not like any traditional style bait, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how many of these I see at Bass Pro. So, but kind of to get in the way that I'm rigging it. So this is a Mustad triple grip, and I kind of switched between, I think it was a size 4 and a size 2, depending on what size I was throwing. If it was a full cast, obviously go up. If it's a 17, kind of can go either way. If it's a 13, you obviously have to go down. But the interesting thing about this is, so I don't know if you guys can see this. So the way that I have this rigged is you have your 2, it's really hard to see with all these appendages. You have your 2 treble hooks sitting out here on the side, and you have one on the inside of it, and you kind of have to skin hook it. But you need to have like a stop. So I know Ewing was using a spinnerbait trailer. I was using some Temu clear stops. Anything will pretty much work. I know Tripp was actually using the Koike.
I don't know what you call it.
The clear piece that comes in the Koike box.
Like tubing? The tubing
Yeah,
on the metal wire?
I was cutting it out and just sticking it over the hook just to keep it in place.
And like on the Koike specifically, there's a slot where they put it in the box, that wire that goes through. There's a slot on each side. In the bottom slot or top slot, whatever. I mean, there's no top from bottom, but you put depending on where I was at water column wise, I switched between a 16th and a 32nd. If I went shower, threw 32nd. If I went deeper, I threw a 16th. It got to the point in one of the day of like part of day one where I didn't even realize what weight I was throwing. I was just chucking and winding.
Well, I remember I was on the phone with you, and you were like, "I haven't caught a fish on a koike for a minute in practice," and he was like, "I wonder why that is," and he's like, "I must not have a weight or anything." He kept fishing, and like 5 minutes later, he's like, "I didn't have a weight in the koike."
It fell out. And then did I not? Immediately after I put a weight in, I caught one on the phone with you.
Yeah, you caught like a 20-incher or something. I'm like, dang. I after that, I called Hunter. I'm like, Kobe's making me mad because he's out here wrecking them. And on the last day of practice, I couldn't get a dang bite.
But you always the way that I rig it, I guess, or the kind of like my pet peeve. So I always want my nail weight to be on the bottom with like this hook facing up, right? So I want that nail weight, and I want it to fall just like this as it goes down. So your hook stays up, it's not sideways or whatever, and your nail weight is flush, so everything falls in line. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes that's really hard to get because the way the nail weights work and the way that you kind of hook it. So sometimes it's a little sideways, but I don't think that they really minded all that much.
Yeah, and we just had a question pop in the chat. It said, "Do you ever use a single hook, or do you always use a treble?"
I've never used. I mean, this is the first time I've thrown it, and I've never used a single hook, so I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah, I'd say I've definitely seen a significant amount of people, like on social media wise, rigging it with a single hook. But like now that it's become a little bit more popular, I'm definitely seeing more of the treble hook action.
I think the hookup ratio. I've talked to many guys about it. I've heard the hookup ratio absolutely sucks, hooking on a single hook. But I've also heard other people say throw it on like a jig head too.
Mm.
But I don't. Like I said, it's the first time I've thrown it. I threw it on the treble hook, same exact way Kobe and Ewing were throwing it, and I mean it worked. I didn't have one to complain about it.
Yeah,
I think
and
just more what matters is hook size compared to their koike size.
Kind of to piggyback off of that, I'm going to be so honest here for a second. I caught my first koike fish while we were there. So, like, I'm just as new to it as the next guy is. But for my theory, now, and this is kind of like watching the guys on the elites and stuff like that, like Tripp was saying, I think the hookup ratio is just so much better. And if you can watch it, and now it'd be a little bit different if you couldn't watch it on scope, like I had that luxury to do. Obviously, you're probably not going to get hung up as much with a single hook. I mean, that's just like, that'd be like throwing a crankbait in a cypress tree. I mean, obviously, some of it will deflect, but like if I took a 3/4 ounce trowel trap and just threw it at the cypress tree, I'm probably going to get hung up. So I think it kind of comes back to what you're fishing and if you have live scope and whatnot. Like,
Another one thing I was saying, just thinking about, like maybe if you're fishing, like obviously you can't throw a treble hook in like 30 foot of water. Like let's just say that. So maybe that might be when a single hook and like drop shot weight comes to play.
that's what Drake just put in the chat. He said single hook when you're fishing deep, and then we also had Florida Bass Nation Kayak Series say, "Can you please start calling treble hooks talons, please? We can do that."
Shout out Blake Abbey.
Yeah. Shout out Blake. I swear he's one of the best videographers in the game.
Oh, he's
been
on top of it.
And the content they're putting out is unreal. So make sure you guys go take a look at that. I don't know about you guys, but with all the videos that they're posting, I'm definitely going to try and sneak down and fish a Florida Bass Nation event next year because it looks like
that would be fun.
I think we just need to hire Blake as our team camera guy. I think that's what we need to do.
I know, Frazier, we need to get on that. I don't know if it's in the budget. I don't know what he charges, but we'll have to figure something out.
Well, it was so funny how we met him. We met him through Ewing at Kissimmee, and then now, like, after that event, he's just kind of kept up with all of us, and it's been one of those things of, like, and that's what's really cool about the kayak community is you never know who you're going to meet and when you're going to meet them. Like, if you'd have told me a month ago, or, like, I don't know, before the Kissimmee event that I'd have Blake Abbey congratulating me after my day one finish, I would have told you you're insane. You know what I mean? It's just really cool to see how tight and interwoven the kayak community is.
Yeah, I love it because there's like on the boat side, it's not. I don't think it's the same just from what I see, and on the kayak side, there's not one guy that I won't go out of out of my way to go help, or and I know they do the same. Like we see it all the time at tournaments where, like for example, Abby Abendanza and Jody Queen. Abby's motor failed on the second day of the tournament. Abby or not, I'm yeah, Blake Abby on my mind, not a yay way. I'll just tell you that. I knew that was gonna somebody was gonna say something about that, but Jody towed Abby 2 miles back to the ramp and took up like 30 minutes of his time, and went out of his way. And then I guess they got it figured out, and both ended up getting the limit. And Jody cashed a check, so it went really really well.
Well, that's even like me and Tripp had a little experience of that, getting towed there at Potter's. So as Tripp was mentioning, we the Pathfinder, she's great, she's awesome. But we had a little mishap. I guess what morning of day 2 or day 3 of
Hey,
practice,
three.
Taylor
and
just said we could get Blake here, but we'd have to double tuition.
I'd be down. I'd pay it. But like 2 guys went out of their way. I know Carson Holbert's dad was one of them. Shoot, you remember their names? Tripp?
Nadine.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo Nadine, yep.
Yep.
He was the first one there. So huge shout out to him and his travel partner. I think it was Jimmy.
Or was it Chris?
Somebody. And what was crazy is Ronaldo had helped Ewing with his 360 belt, had helped pull Tripp up at the ramp. And then on the last day of the tournament, I proceeded to leave the plugs out of my kayak and flood it. And I'm sitting there next to the ramp and I'm trying to pull it up. And like, keep in mind, I've, no joke, had half of my kayak filled with water. I've never seen that much in there. And here comes Ronaldo. He's like, man, let me help you pull it up. He's like, I got a bilge pump and everything. We'll get this done quick. And like, I ended up making it out of the ramp on time. And I was like, he helped 3 of the Carson Newman guys, which is crazy. I can't imagine how many other people he helped throughout the week.
Man, he's a great guy.
He was awesome that week, and honestly, like, I think me and Tripp thanked him like 40 times that week. Every time we see him, we're like, hey man, thank you. But like, honestly, like that stuff doesn't go unnoticed. You know what I mean? And I think it's important to highlight those people that are doing good things. I mean, like you said, he helped out 3 of us this week, and it was really great to be able to see that he would go out of his way to help us. And
Yeah.
anytime any one of us see him, if he ever has trouble, like we're gonna break our neck to try to help him back.
Yeah. And then while we kind of got like 15 minutes left, I know Kobe's already on his last episode mentioned some of the stuff on the college side. I want Tripp to kind of hop on this, and I'm going to ask him a few questions here. So Tripp, how do you balance school and travel, especially at this time of year when we were gone for a week before finals start?
You just got to stay focused. I know I had Kobe write my teachers' emails on the way to and back from Caddo. I was emailing teachers, reading every emails for him. I think at one point I was doing homework for him. He was just telling me what to write, and I was writing it for him.
Whoa, that did not happen. That did not happen.
It's taking advantage of your time you have while traveling to get your work done because you never know where you're going to stay. Like, for example, the place we're staying we had Wi-Fi, but I couldn't even load Google. And I couldn't get a hotspot off my phone because there was no service. But luckily, the professors here, most of them are pretty relaxed with the fishing team because they know we're always on the road. But my biggest thing would be just getting ahead of things before it gets too late, academically wise.
Yeah. Let's see here. Like, what's a normal tournament week for you? Like, so say when we went to Texas, what does that kind of look like? Travel, missing school?
Before we go down there, I'll look at some maps, both like satellite maps and like using like Lake Master and stuff like that. But you couldn't do that on Caddo, literally. I looked at maps a couple times. I'm like, you know what? I'll just figure it out when I get down there. So that's kind of what I did before. And I keep an open mind about everything. So like when we were in Florida, everybody was groaning and moaning about that cold front, and it happens. You know, you just got to learn how to fish. When people were moaning and groaning about that cold front this past weekend, and I was like, I'm just go out there and fish, do my best, do whatever I can. I'm very open minded about everything. I don't let much get to me. There's fish in the water, and I'm gonna go try to catch them.
Yep. And how does college fishing kind of prepare you for the next level?
Uh, the people you meet. I'm so much better now in 2 years I've been here than I thought I could ever be, and I know so much about so many different bodies of water, and I've never even been on them. Like, I could confidently say I could go to so many different lakes and do good, because the people I know, the people, what they've taught me. That's
Edwin
one of the big
said,
things.
in quotation marks, the lake is not the
The
problem.
lake is not the problem; it's the fishermen. That's most definitely right.
And then, what's your favorite memory so far this year? In general, it could be related to college or fishing.
Probably this past week and catching 100 1/4 inches. I mean, it was insane. Like I said, I'm still speechless. I have no words. It just happened. Like, I was sitting there telling Kobe and Ewing once we go back to Airbnb, I still thought I had two 16 inches to call. And when I submitted that 20 and a half, I looked on Tourney X and I was at 100 1/4. I was like, whoa. I was like, I have a shot to do this. And I still had 2 hours left, but I didn't call anything out. I lost two. That may have helped me. But that's probably one of my favorite memories since this year, at least, I'd have to
Yeah.
say.
And a hundred inch bag on any lake. Well, I mean, there's some lakes on the country that it's not as much of as an achievement as like if you were to go to Caddo. Caddo, you definitely see more of that 95 to 96 inch bags, and not even that. When the tournament rolls around, I mean, in practice, you can go catch 100 inches throwing a wacky rigged pink Senko with a 1 1/4 ounce weight on it. You'll still catch them, but when the tournament rolls around, they start feeling that pressure. And I mean, when you catch that big of a bag, that's definitely something to be really really proud of. And then now we're getting back to kind of both of y'all in here. So, how do you feel that Caddo sets you up for the rest of the season? I know we got some really big events coming up this summer. I don't know how many of those y'all are going to be fishing, but how does it make you feel like, oh, I can go do a lot better than I have been doing?
Mojo.
Mojo is
Mojo.
the word of the week.
Mojo.
I, I'll kind
I'll let
of
you talk on that. I'll let you talk on that.
um. So we had a word of the week that was called Mojo. So like we done certain. So after we called them at Tucker's, we done literally everything the same, and I think that was the good Mojo for the week. But on a serious note, I was very fortunate. I qualified for the kayak classic, I guess, this year, and in my second college event, technically, because of a DQ, but that's not neither here nor there. Um, but I think it's really cool to see how you put the time in, you put the work in, and you start to reap the harvest. Um, I don't know. I'm still. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit seasoned now, but like I haven't been in a kayak for super long. I guess I'm coming up on a year maybe in June or July. I guess it's when I picked up the Outback from Fraser. But it's so cool to see the growth that okay, when I started I was lucky to catch a bass. You know what I mean? And now I won a college event out of it. I've placed third in one of the events, and I think it's really important for me to see that the fruits of my labor and to know that it is possible and that you can do all the things that you set your mind to.
Yeah, and it's such a unique because like I always like to say, boat fishermen can't come and immediately catch fish out of a kayak, but a kayak fisherman can go to a boat and catch fish out of a boat. I
I
feel like
I don't know if I can agree with that. It took me a long time to get situated in a kayak.
that's
That's
what I
what he's
just said.
saying. That's
Oh,
what he's
oh,
saying.
oh, oh. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. I'm
That's
sorry.
what
I'm
he's.
sorry.
That's literally what he's saying.
Somebody's distracted. Let's see here. What's it? What's some advice for some younger anglers trying to compete at the next level, whether it's out of a boat or out of a kayak, like in the college scene or in the pro scene or anything like that.
I would
Right.
say networking, getting to know people, show up to every tournament you can fish, talking to people that are older than you and know the industry a little bit better. Those are probably one of my biggest two things. Some of probably the two biggest things I did wrong and I learned from. Just getting out there and fishing as many tournaments as you can, whether it's high school, open tournament you have on the weekend, or just a tournament trail around the house. Just get out there and fish. Learn new bodies of water. If you have if you go on vacation, whether you're fishing, a pond or something, just go fish in different states. It doesn't just get out there and fish. That's probably my biggest advice.
And it's so cliche to say it, but time on the water is king. Like, yes, I can go flip in my yard for an hour and a half, but what good does that do me until I put it to work? And like Tripp said, I mean, it's so networking is here to stay, and it's been here for a long time. But social media is getting so big now to where you can build your following. Like Jordan's got his podcast and everything, and he's established himself in the kayak community. And so, if you want to be a figurehead and kind of grow an audience, social media is the way to go. So that would be my biggest recommendation. Get on social media, time on the water, talk to people. Don't be the guy that's scared at the weigh-in to go talk to somebody.
Yeah, and I mean that's something I've noticed throughout the years, just on the kayak side, because that's all I've ever done. But there's not many people that when we go to a tournament, I don't know who they are. Like I've talked to so many different. Like it's gotten to the point now where I can't remember names, and it's like I feel bad for some guys that I know from back at home that I've been fishing with for a couple years now, and I look at them and I'm like, I don't remember your name, and it's so bad, but it just goes to show how many people that are. I mean, we've had over 200 people in most of the events in the Bassmaster Kayak Series this year, which is kind of unreal to think about. When I first started, we had like 3 major trails, and everybody was split up. Like they'd be biased to one trail only, and there'd be 100 people at an event. Now it's reaching numbers that are unreal.
I think Bassmaster taking it to the next level and giving it its media coverage has certainly helped that. Like, I hope Steve-O's doing good, and I hope he's healing correctly. But he's doing a phenomenal job of trying to put kayak fishing on the main mainstream. Um, it was so funny how I actually kind of got interested in kayak fishing as I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and I was like, man, it'd be something cool to try. And now I'm here competing at, I guess, the highest level that you can, which is awesome. You know what I mean? And I think there needs to be more awareness to that. Of, it's not just the elite series. It's not just trying to make it to the pro circuit or to BPT. Like
Mhm.
there are other avenues to where you can have a platform and succeed in. And kayak fishing is an awesome platform. It is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some guys fishing the kayak scene that definitely should not be fishing out of a kayak, and they should
Oh,
be out of
most
the boat.
definitely. There's
Wyatt.
Yeah,
Wyatt Hammond for one. He should not be in a kayak. He should be making hundreds of thousands of dollars in a boat, no
yeah,
doubt.
and there's like a bunch of other guys too that it's the same way. Like, there's no reason for them. Well, I know they fell in love with kayak fishing, but they could be making all the money in the world in the boat side, and it's kind of a testament to kayak fishing, and it shows how people really do love it because it kind of gets us back to the basics. Like, yes, scope has kind of played a role in bringing technology in, but it's unique seeing that Steve Owens is doing an awesome job on the schedule of mixing up different kinds of fisheries that you don't necessarily have to have scope to have a chance at winning it, and it's really awesome to see what it's come to over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
he's
it
doing
was one without scope this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was. I watched him catch a couple of fish that were in his final bag, and it was kind of unreal just watching Casey Reed out there. And Casey Reed's a guy that I've been following for years, and a guy that kind of has been on top of the game since I started. Like, you'd always see him in the top 10 finishing, and like they said at awards, it had taken him 6 or 7 years to win an event. So it was awesome to see. It just testament, like Kobe said, to time on the water. Eventually, it's going to pay off. But we are reaching the hour point, so unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut the episode off because of the finals coming up and all the
Boo!
studying to do. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. See y'all next week.
Yeah, 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 yeah.